What I want to talk about today is the river name Peffer. This may be the most northerly surviving Pictish place name. Yell, the island of Yell in Shetland, is another possibility, but I'll deal with that in another post. Now, Peffer doesn't only occur as the river to the northwest of Inverness. There are also two other Peffer rivers in former Pictland. Inverpeffery contains one. But the one I want to talk about really today is the one in Strathpeffer. Interestingly enough, there are also two small streams in Lothian, which are also called Peffer. There's also a place name in Cheshire called Pever, and that's probably also from a river name. But where would these names come from? It's very difficult for them to be Gaelic because Gaelic didn't have the letter or the sound P. However, in Welsh, we do have the noun, or the adjective rather, pefr. And pefr means glistening. You will say that the child's eyes will be yn pefrio, glistening with delight. Now, river names referring to brightness, shining and the like are quite common in the Celtic world. So this can't be a Gaelic name, as we've seen, and there is no Gaelic word similar to it in any case, and it contains a P, which Gaelic lacks. So the natural, or the only sort of logical conclusion is that this is a surviving Pictish name. So it probably means the shining, glistening river. Now, what this confirms is what we generally think of Pictish, in that it's a form perhaps closely related, perhaps not so closely related to Old Welsh or Archaic Welsh, Brythonic, but might be the best name for it. But it doesn't tell us that much about when the name was coined. We don't get these names attested commonly until about the 13th century in Scotland. That's when Anglo-Norman, Scoto-Norman scribes start to write down the place names. So it's rare to have any names before that. So all this tells us is that the name Peffer was in existence, probably at the end of the Pictish period, the end when the language was still spoken, which most people would suspect to be 10th century, perhaps a bit later, who knows. But this is Peffer, the glistening, the shining bright river, is related to Welsh pefr, and is probably the most northerly Pictish place name surviving. We don't get any names more to the north than that, because practically all the toponymy, apart from some major rivers and island names, was effaced by the Norse with these with the Viking presence, which would have been violent and probably later not so violent with intermarriage. But this Norse language has almost effaced all the earlier toponymy from the area to the north of Strathpeffer and anti-clockwise down to the Western Isles. Peffer, glistening river.